Hello, VC, and all of my record collecting brothers and sisters. It's that time of year again. The Mega Record Fair is just around the corner. This time around, I'm going to get into the spirit and share with you some info, tips, and best practices to make any trip to the big event fun and enjoyable. Now, this will be divided into a 6-episode series, so sit back and enjoy what I hope will be a fun ride. So if you're new here, welcome in, and if you're a repeat offender, welcome back. I'm Johnny, you're watching Channel 910, and this is the Road to Den Bosch. So before we get fully engaged in conversation, I ask that you like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you have something to say, drop it down there in the comments. And if you know somebody who might like this video, definitely share it with them. It helps us out over here. So far in this series, we've talked about a lot of things that I consider to be very important as they pertain to the Mega Record Fair. But today we might be talking about the single most important thing of all of these. In this episode, we're going to focus a lot on how you carry your records around during the event. This might seem trivial to some of you, but if you've never had to lug around these type of bags full of records during one of these events for hours and hours, then you just don't understand the pain. So we'll start with every record collector's best friend and worst enemy, the canvas tote. You know, these little unassuming fabric pockets with these finger destroying handles on them. They're easy to tote when they're empty. Super lightweight. If you're flying over to the Netherlands, then these pack up really nicely in your luggage. But when you fill these things up with vinyl records, these are torture to drag around a record show. Once you get one of these filled up, that's about as much as you want to go. I mean, at that point, you could kind of swap arms as the hours tick by. But if you're lugging around 2, 3, 4 or more of these things that are full of records, you got a lot of weight, and it's going to start to wear on you after a while. So if you're going for just a few items at the record fair, then canvas bags will do you just fine. But if you're going any more than probably 10, or if you're going to exceed one bag, I would recommend some other solutions. My personal method of choice for the Mega Record Fair is my trusty dolly and crate combo. So this rig that I use is collapsible. So the dolly itself is flat and then just kind of folds out and then the handle extends. But it's a collapsible dolly. Yeah, and the crate too is collapsible. And it is made of plastic. But just like that, you have a full crate and keep quite a few records in here. And I just attach this to the dolly with the bungee cord. And I can actually bring multiples of these collapsible crates with me to the record show. And then as I fill one up, I just walk it back out to the car and grab another one. I personally like the collapsible crate. You could upgrade to like a hard plastic, solid body crate or wood, that neither one of which collapses, but they're a little bit more sturdy. They weigh a little bit more, but either one would serve the purpose. I mentioned actually taking the crate out to the car and swapping it out with a new crate when this one gets full. And as a bulk buyer, I do that quite often. So if you fall into that category that you drove there and you're going to buy quite a lot of records, and just get ready to make those trips back and forth to the car. It's easy enough to do at this record fair. They just stamp your hand and you can exit and re-enter really easy. But do be ready to make quite a hike to get to the car sometimes, unless you're lucky and you got a spot right up front. Oftentimes you're walking for quite a distance. This is a really big parking lot, and not all of the areas of the parking lot are near the entrance to the building. So just kind of keep that in mind too. And having gone to this record show a number of times, I've seen some kind of creative methods between these kind of backpack setups, I've seen people with rolling suitcases, even people with the roadie cases or DJ cases. That while I feel the roadie case is a little bit cumbersome to get up and down the aisles, I guess if it works, it works. The suitcase to me is one that I the more I think about it, the more it kind of makes sense. If you fly into the Netherlands, you can always just bring an empty suitcase with you, or buy one while you're in country. Because you're flying, the suitcase already should meet the size standards, and then you can just, once you fill up the suitcase, then you're done. You can't fit anymore. You don't have to worry about the problem of buying too many records and then you have no way to get them home. So you kind of already bring, rather than having a budget, you almost have like a size limitation, which I guess works too. And speaking of the suitcase and putting it on the plane, how are you getting all of your stuff back where you came from? How do you get all these things home? So how did you get to the Netherlands? If you're like me, then you drove. You just got in your own car and you drove in. You parked in the parking lot. You're gonna load your car up, just throw everything in the trunk or the back seat, and then just drive home when you're done. So there you go. That one's easy to me. Then you have what's probably the second most common method, which is flying in. Now, flying with records is something that I've only done with very small numbers of records, and I would always put them in my carry-on because I have control of my carry-on the whole time. I can take care of it and not have to worry about anything getting damaged. If you've ever seen the way that checked baggage is handled, then it should scare you to put records in a checked bag. Additionally, airlines will charge very high prices for checked bags these days. So if you're checking multiple bags, just be aware you're going to have these upcharges. And if you're good with that, then good on you. It's probably more expensive than shipping, which shipping is an option. I mean, Europe has DHL and FedEx and UPS, so there are ways to ship things, but I've never done it myself through those services. I don't know what it would cost, especially if you have a lot of stuff. Talking with some of the vendors at the event, especially the ones that came from overseas, I asked them, like, how did you get all your stuff here? And they used freight cargo, which I know is not cheap. So you need to plan ahead and make sure if you're going to fly over, or drive over, or whatever method you use, that you're thinking about how you're going to get your stuff back home. And the only other transportation method I can think of that somebody would use is by train, which a lot of Europeans use the train system. So if you're coming in from somewhere else in the Netherlands, or you took a train up from Germany or from Belgium, then yeah, you can just take your luggage onto the train. I don't think they charge you for it, but you're going to have to be able to handle it all yourself. So however much you buy, just make sure that you're able to maneuver all those suitcases back onto the train, and you should be good to go. And I feel like a lot of people, myself included sometimes, don't really think about this part of the operation beforehand, and it's only whenever you've been lugging around 4 to 6 canvas tote bags full of records, your shoulder nearly dislocated, that's when you think, maybe I should have brought that dolly. So if you're attending the Mega Record Fair, just think ahead and bring the proper equipment for the job. And speaking of the proper equipment for the job, that is what our next episode is going to cover, are a lot of the unthought of kind of nice to have items while attending this record fair. So stay tuned. But until we meet up in that next episode, be cool, love each other, and if you're spinning, you're winning.